Hold on. Go ahead. Go ahead.
That's CC husband. He's a gamer, and he be
Sound like he getting into his Madden.
yeah because he has like the whole game crew and all that good stuff. So yeah, but there's actually something that I wanted to ask you, and that's a topic for tonight that came out of that situationship that getting your perspective and hearing your views on it. And there's something that you said during a live, I believe,
Mm-hmm.
that Cece heard that we definitely want to pick your brain on. So let's get it going.
Well, first off,
Okay.
I mean, if y'all ready, I gotta take a shot to
Go
y'all.
and take your shot.
Oh, we didn't
Go,
have another
go,
shot.
go, go,
I,
go.
I drank enough for all three of us. Don't
There
worry
you
about
go. Definitely. Yes. And on that note, welcome back to another episode of So Problematic. This is your girl Cece,
And Jay.
and we have our friend here with us tonight. Um, I'm actually loving that sign in the back of you.
Yes.
Bar Ringo. Okay, I see you.
that.
Welcome
That's
to So
all my wife.
Problematic.
Nothing to do with that.
Tell us a little bit more about yourself and introduce
Yes.
yourself.
No, okay. So my name is Ringo. I'm the host of We Need to Talk 23, um, which is a podcast that touches on all of the subjects that a lot of other podcasters and people like to duck. Um, of course, I try to keep it clean because of my job,
Mhm.
but clean in terms of what I speak on and how I speak on certain topics. But I still like to touch on everything. Um, uh, originally from New Jersey, currently live in the DC area now.
Mm.
Um, Father, married. Actually, in 2 weeks, will make 10 years for us. Father of three sons. I mean, what else? What else you want to know?
That's what's up. That's what's up. So yeah, so to get into the topic tonight, I heard you make a statement, and I think someone pinned it on their live at the time where you stated that your wife changed your life.
Mhm.
So we want to get into what that actually entails. What does that mean? And what did she change? Get into that because that can carry a lot because we don't know where you came from to be the man that you are today.
And how does she impact
And
you?
how did she
Like, yeah,
impact
we want to,
you?
yeah.
And did you really want that change first before she came
Mm-hmm.
into your life?
Mm-hmm.
So definitely we're gonna tap into that.
Let's go.
I'll start here. She changed my life. Well, one, I grew up in a West Indian household. Single mother, and and this is very important to my story. So I grew up was always taught that men don't cry, boys don't cry, all that type stuff.
Mhm.
So I've had relationships before my wife, but I never felt comfortable as far as emotionally with any other female the way that I did with my wife.
Mhm.
The beginning, where I say she changed my life was, I opened up to her. And the way that I knew that she was the one for me was that it was my brother's anniversary. My brother passed in '99. It was my brother's anniversary, and I actually cried in front of my wife. And I think outside of my mother or grandmother, that was the first time I've ever cried in front of a female.
Oh wow.
Mm.
So it was, because all my life it just, push your emotions down and
Push it
everything.
down. Definitely.
So, and I tried to fight it as best I could, and the tears just started coming, and it was just like, okay. So then from there, just like, all right. And I think this was before we got married, but from there, it was just like, okay, I'm still me. I still wanted to run the streets and do all of these other things. And my wife is 6 years younger than me. First woman that I've dated that was younger than me. I usually date women that are older than me.
Oh
Okay.
wow. Okay.
So she was the youngest, and she challenged me at all of these little different places that most people didn't. On
Mhm.
our date, we had a conversation, and I'm just looking at her like, all right, I met her when she was 19. I would sounds bad, but she was 19, I was 25. She
Yeah.
was cool. No, I didn't pull a R. Kelly, no bullshit like
That's
that.
not
No,
too
no, no,
bad.
no,
That's
no,
not
no.
good. That's
No,
fine.
that's not bad. Nah, you good.
So,
Trust me.
but when
Parents.
I met her, I thought our conversations wouldn't match up. We
Mhm.
actually sat in the car and we talked, and I didn't think it was going to go anywhere. But the conversation, I was so intrigued by her mind and everything.
Mhm.
Mm.
It's like, oh shit. So then, you know, the more conversations we had, I thought I still wanted to, as you said on your live tonight, I thought I still wanted to be a whore, still wanted to run the streets.
Yeah.
You know, she intrigued me so much. It's just like, all right, maybe I need to slow down and see what this young, you know, what this young woman has to offer me. So when I say she changed me, like she changed me emotionally, one, because I learned to open up and cry in front of her and things like that. Now, I also always say every time I mention this, I don't run around crying for anything. Just like, oh my God, I don't know. I couldn't find it
Right.
when I went to the mall. Yeah, I'm not crying over nonsense. If I'm crying in front of her, there's something behind it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we understand.
Things like that. So that's how she changed my life.
Okay. No, because I think that that's a big thing when it comes to men, and them stating that they want to change, or a woman has helped them change. A lot of people don't see the underlying, you know what I'm trying to say, like the underlying emotion behind it. Because my husband would probably say the same thing, but he would probably be like, oh well, no, I was already in the mindset of changing before I met you. Like,
Yeah.
just to downplay that a woman came into your life and helped you see what you wanted for yourself, what you felt like you now deserved, because you didn't want to be that way anymore.
Yeah.
And a lot
Hmm.
of some men, they don't want to be vulnerable. They don't want to admit
Very true.
to
They
that.
don't.
So I wanted to bring that out and be like, well, why does it seem like such a weak thing for men to admit that it's okay to be vulnerable? It's okay to say that this woman that you are now either married to or dating, engaged, she helped change you for the better, not for the worse. So
That
Very true.
why is it such a bad thing?
You
because I think as men, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but I think as men, I think we see it as a flaw or a weakness, and we don't want to have that flaw or that weakness.
know,
And even being married, 10 years now, I didn't in the first 5 years, I I'm sorry if I curse too much, but
Oh,
oh, baby, you haven't heard
I
our
think you've seen
podcast.
our live.
oh, okay, but
Have
um,
you not seen?
but I know in our first 5 years or so, I know I did a lot of fucking up, and I didn't think it was gonna last. It was just like, all right, because um, like there's an episode of Martin where he took off his ring after him and Gina got married, and he wanted to see if he still had it. So
Mhm.
for me, it was just like, shit, do I still have it? Blah blah blah, and I'm still trying to rip and run the streets, and then come home act like everything is okay. And at first, it was just like, you can't keep doing this, blah blah blah. And I'm telling myself like, she's not gonna leave. She's not gonna leave. Thankfully, she didn't leave me, but there were times where I was pushing her out the door.
Right,
Mm-hmm.
right.
So much of, oh, well, why can't you stay? It was, nah, I'm doing all of this dumb shit.
Hmm.
Mm.
Look at the front door. Before she might have been considering the front door, but now all of the silly shit that I'm doing is forcing her to look at the front door.
Yeah,
You know,
got you.
I'm sorry, my
Got
husband.
you. Got you.
But I would I would say, because I've kind of been in the same scenario, and I'm hitting 10 years in December of being married.
right?
So, and I know the vulnerable side that he didn't want to show me.
Mhm.
And he's admitted, obviously, over time now, that that I have changed him in certain areas of his life that he didn't know that he need changing, or that he didn't know that it can change for the better, I would say. So I think that he also, and I know he probably gonna hear this and be like, oh my God, why you telling that? But no, but he was, I think that he knew that I was walking out the door.
Mhm.
I literally actually left.
Mm-hmm.
And because I was living here, we were engaged before marriage,
Mm-hmm.
and I was ready, I was out the door. And he
Mm-hmm.
realized, like, wait a minute, I pushed her a little bit too far,
Mhm.
you know? like because he was wanting to make sure that he still had it and test the waters and trying to still play the field when he really knew what he wanted. He just wanted to still see if he had it. And I'm just like, oh well, we'll go find out while I go over here. And so it's like just knowing um that she changed your life for the better. Is there anything from your past that you think you miss or think that you sometimes find yourself thinking about here and there? Because
Hmm.
let's be vulnerable. Let's be honest about it.
I mean, yeah, there are some things that I think about, and I mean, to me, it seems like small things because I still think about, you know, why have I been so afraid to, to open up and be vulnerable?
Mm.
Because for the longest, my wife would call me an emotional cripple because we had 3 boys, and at the birth I was there for all 3. The birth of well, I have 2 with my wife and 1 before my wife, but at the birth of all 3 of my sons, I didn't cry.
Yeah.
I really don't. I still, even now, I don't show a whole lot of emotion. Like if something's going wrong at home or in the marriage or whatever, my wife may be freaking out, and I'm just, the way I am now is how I am during the situation. And she
Mm,
goes, "Oh, it seems like you don't care." It's not that I don't care. I just don't react the same way.
Mm-hmm.
I said when we first met, yes, I was an emotional cripple. I didn't give a shit. It was just like, oh, you gonna leave? All right, well, we just dating. So what? And, you'll be back. And now it's just like, so I wonder why it took me so long to, to open up to not just her, but to anybody. But I'm glad I was able to really open up with her
mhm,
versus
Gotcha.
anybody else.
mhm,
Okay. I like that. I like the fact that anyway, you said something that was very profound there. And
mhm.
it is the sense of I don't react the way you want me to react.
Yeah.
Because I'm dramatic as hell. I'm dramatic as fuck. Let me tell you that right now. My dramatic level is at the roof, okay? And God, it runs in my blood. It really
I
does.
know.
So on that level, I know for me, the person I'm with can't be dramatic. Has to be. And my ex-husband is like you. He's very stonic, where it was like he wasn't gonna react.
Mhm.
His reaction more like, it's all right, it'll pass. Ain't that big of a deal.
Yeah.
Um, but I feel like that's needed though, if you don't know what I'm
It's
saying.
kind of
Like
valid.
two people can't be as dramatic. But I had to also realize that because he wasn't reacting or another man wasn't reacting the way that I wanted him to,
Mhm.
didn't mean that he didn't care, like you said a while ago. It's just that that's just how you perceive it and how you can react to it. Now, the main thing for tonight
Mhm.
was people always say you can't teach your old dog new tricks.
Mhm.
Well, my last situationship, I remember
Oh, that
poor
one.
Kev. You know,
Shouts for that man.
that's for that man. He made a comment in the
Mhm.
beginning, and this should have been a red flag, but you know what? Sometimes the flag look orange when the thing is sitting. But anyways, um, the comment was, "I'm set in my ways, Jill."
Mm.
And that speaks a lot to how somebody is going into that relationship.
Mhm.
You know, hindsight 2020, now I know what he means by setting
He's
his
set in
ways.
his ways.
As in, like, he ain't changing shit about what he gonna
So
do.
technically, he already told
He
you.
already told me. But I feel like, and do you feel this way? So
Mhm.
let me ask you a question. When a man say he's set in his ways, is that a good thing, first of all, or is that a bad thing? Second, do you feel like a man is willing to change those ways with who he's willing to change for? And if a man isn't willing to change his ways, should a woman bounce?
I think it's just, and it's just my opinion. I think it's bullshit when a man said that he's set in his ways. It's a defense mechanism because like I said, we don't want to show any vulnerability, any weakness or anything.
Mhm.
So by you asking us certain things, and if we're willing to change, especially in the beginning part of any relationship, we see it as, all right, well, I'm giving her. We're not thinking about it as we're bettering the relationship. We're seeing it more as I'm giving her this versus this is gonna, impact the relationship in the long term. So any guy, at least for me, in my opinion, when they say they're set in their ways, That's bullshit because we're willing to change for who and what we want to change for. Like I
Mm,
said,
Right.
I was doing what I was doing and I'm helping my wife see the front door.
mm-hmm.
Only way I could get her to stay was to change. If I would if I would have stayed set in my ways, I would have pushed her to the front door. But by me willing to change negative behavior, bad behavior, whatever the case was, it was like, okay, I had to change and I was willing to change to keep her around because and I always tell my wife, shit, we've been married 10 years now. Now it's to the death. It's just like
At this
we made it this far. It's just like shit, what can't we get through? Of course there are some things that are just automatic. That's it, you know.
right.
But for the most part, it's just like I had to change. So guys, most guys, if they're honest with themselves, hell yeah, we're willing to change for who and what we want.
Yeah, I was gonna say he didn't want to change. He wasn't ready to change.
Got
For
you.
somebody to say that, I just like you said, that's bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't want to change, and he wanted you to accept what he had going on. And if you
It-
accepted it and kept going with it, he would have been like, okay, I ain't got to change. Then
Exactly.
you would have been okay with it.
So
Exactly.
you feel like it's the woman needs to balance, or even a man. Let me not say it's a woman. Let me be, we're gonna have the men that inbox. What about the women? So they love doing that. So man or woman,
Right.
if they're not willing to change those ways that are not going to be productive to a relationship, that the other person should balance to protect their sanity.
I mean, it all honestly, it all depends on what the person is willing to put up with,
Yeah.
because
Okay.
some people are willing to, if they see potential in that person,
Mm.
they're willing to deal with it and stick with a whole lot of shit. Because, like I said, I know my wife was, willing to stick through and deal with my ass because I know I'm a lot to deal with, and I'll say that, and I know she can hear me. She's in the other room, but I mean, it just depends because and any honest man to say this, I'm 100% honest. I know that there's other options out there. Better, not better. That's not my decision to make if it's better or not better. But
Yeah.
there are other options out there that would probably be less headache, male or female, and,
Mhm.
Right.
and all those types of things. So it's just if a person wants to balance it, it just depends on what they're willing to put up or what they can put up with. Because like I said, if you see potential in this person,
Mhm.
you already know nothing good comes from anything easy. If you got to work at it, that's where all of the, all right, good. I'm glad I stuck with it and got what I got out of it. Like I said, him saying that he was set in his ways is just bullshit because and I'll say this for him, if you would have stayed and allowed him to be set in his ways, if you brought that conversation up later on and say, well, I want you to change this. Oh shit, I told you I was set in my ways and you dealt with it for the
Very true.
That part.
Very true.
5 years, however long it is. So it just depends, but it just depends on the person if they're willing to stick around and work through or deal with whatever the situation is.
Hmm.
Very true.
That's what I was
I
saying.
do agree with that. I do agree with that because that is exactly how I felt toward the end. And I feel like with anything at this point is staying too long in what doesn't serve you.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And that's what our lives is really about tonight, believe it or not.
It went
It
totally
is
left.
totally left. It went into a episode of I
I
was
might
like, yeah, we're gonna keep it up 24 hours and get rid of that to 24 hours because I
I
don't think I
can't.
let shit up too long. But yeah, but
Hmm.
um, but not just that, but also I would say when it comes to men, because you also hit a key point there when it comes to communication. Well, first of all, let me ask this question: what island? What's your nationality there? What island?
Chinese.
Guyanese. Guyanese. Okay, okay. No Guyanese. Okay. Um, you hit a point where a lot of with island families, the men are a baby, but they're very much taught to not show that emotion
Yeah.
and to not express that because you're supposed to provide, you're supposed to be there, you're supposed to, my dad always told my brothers and told them stop saying that was a man don't belong in a woman's argument,
Hmm.
meaning don't argue with your wife. And I get that, don't argue, but you got to communicate with her
Communicate.
because some people take that as in don't talk, don't get into no discussion.
Yeah.
You know,
True.
like what steps did you take to really get through that? Because that's something that is like engraved in a boy's mind. I mean, and did you do that with your sons? Or did you break that mold? Did you break the cultural norm with that?
For me, I broke the mold with my sons because communication for me, I'm not a big talker, which is weird why I do podcasting. My wife kind of helped push me into it because for me, everything, like I said, for me, I internalize everything and I keep everything and just push it down. So if
Mhm.
it was an issue, even now, I'll be honest and say that even now, if something is bothering me, if it's bothering me today, my wife will find out about it next week. Because I just,
Yeah.
I like the whole stuff. And it's not trying,
Like,
Men do that a lot.
and it's not trying to keep it from her. It's just like, all right, I'm trying to find a way to work through it myself. Be-
right.
and for me, I don't like to feel like I'm complaining. And my wife always tells me it's not complaining, it's us. You know what I mean? But for me, I always that's how I see it. It's just like I don't want to ask for help unless I truly need it. Now I'm not gonna wait until the last minute and say, okay, I need help. No, 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 no. If I feel a certain way, if I'm in a certain mood or whatever the case is,
Mhm.
I'll have to let my wife know right away. But in the beginning, communication, I wouldn't say shit. It's just, all right, you want to do what? Okay. And I wouldn't say anything.
Right.
So with my boys is, like I said, I have three boys, 20, 15, and 9. So
Mhm.
what I told them was like, look, don't be, everybody always say, oh, I want to be like my father when I grow up, blah, 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 whatever male figure is in their life. I always
Right.
tell my kids, don't be like me as far as emotions go. I tell them if something is bothering you, talk, get that shit out. Cause I said, for me, luckily I had good males around me,
Mhm.
some in the streets and, shit like that. But I had good dudes around me that kept me away from certain things and stuff like that. But I always tell my boys, you gotta talk. Holding that shit in is going to consume you. And especially now, they deal with shit a whole lot different than the laws and rules in school. Everything is so different
Very
now.
much
Very,
so.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
If you explode in school now, they want to lock you up and all this other shit. At least when I was coming up in the 90s and stuff, you explode in school, suspend his ass for 2, 3 days. He'll be back, and that's it. So
Hmm.
now my wife and I, because my wife has a degree in psychology, but she, we tell them, talk to us. Don't
Mhm.
be afraid to talk to us about anything, girls, condoms, sex, whatever you want to talk about.
Everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
Um,
very blunt with my boys. I have two boys. One just turned 18. The other one is turning 8. They're 10 years apart. I'll be very blunt, especially with the oldest one. I'm like, you better put that motherfucking condom on right now. If you feel like you need to go out that door and do what you need to do, put it on and make sure you wash your dick real good. Make
they-
sure. Listen, I get down to the nitty, and my husband knows. Like he has his private conversations, but I'm like, from a woman, I tell him, don't no females want no nasty ass little dick. I no, I'm telling you, if you don't be honest with him, listen, boys out here thinking that pumping and that's it. No, that's not it.
Mhm.
So I'm very blunt. I definitely tell him to express his feelings himself. Um, and my son went through a lot of things, so I'm very, very open with him because he lost his father. So my
Mhm.
son is his bonus father. So I definitely tell him to just be honest,
Yeah.
express yourself. If you're
Yeah.
feeling some type of way, say it. And I was raised in a Christian, a very strict Christian
Oh
home.
yeah.
So
Yeah,
I was
they
told to
talking
shut
about
up, close your mouth, don't back talk, all of that. So it's
Mhm.
kind of
Oh
like
yeah.
I didn't want
Yep.
to shut him down.
What is a dick? You don't know what that is.
I didn't know what it was.
Nope, don't know what
And
that
once I
is,
got to it, it was trouble.
baby. No, you see, I have a daughter.
Devil.
I have a daughter, and we tell you, yeah, she's very vocal. I don't see myself having a problem with that
Yeah.
because she's like me. She's my mini me. She's gonna talk her shit.
Hmm.
I just gotta make sure that mm, that one ain't easy. Yeah, she'll tell me. she'll tell me straight up. She's like, "Mom, I'm not in the mood to listen to you today." And
Mhm.
as much as I love her,
Very.
yeah, she'll say it straight like that. As much as I love her expressing herself, you're not in the mood to,
Mhm.
but you're gonna listen though. So I gotta kind of help her with that. As she gets older, she's only 3, so right now I'm just listening to her
You
talk.
got a long way to go,
I'm
sis.
just listening to her talk her little shit and just enjoy her little voices. To be honest with you, right now.
Yeah.
But she's me off with that while she
I'm
did though.
sorry. I did.
But yeah, being raised in for me, I am. She did. I am Jamaican. You know, you know, and as well as my dad's a pastor. So,
Mhm.
and I'm the only girl out of 14 grandkids. It was all boys and one girl.
Wow.
So, in my family,
Mhm.
it was like protect the vagina. So
Mm.
with that, I lost my virginity to my husband when I got 3 weeks after my wedding. Not even my wedding night, 3 weeks after my wedding.
Oh
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah. He was waiting after that. And, so for me, it was be honest, my mom was like, express yourself. But the problem that I've learned with that was my mother was like you, breaking the mold that she wanted me to express myself. That's why people say you're not with the shit, you don't give a fuck. It's because my mom has taught me, talk your shit.
Mhm.
But my mom had to teach me that outside of me and your dad, people are not going to be used to you doing that, especially in my culture. My grandma used to tell me to shush up. And
Yeah.
my mom used to be like, speak up. So I get conflicting views. So I commend you for doing that because coming from where I am, where my parents told me to talk your shit, talk up, but in a respectable way,
Yeah.
as an adult, I don't care now, but as a child, I did.
Right.
And it really makes you feel like you're heard, but it also improves on the future for my daughter. I'm teaching her talk your shit in a respectable manner to be heard correctly
Mhm.
and not as ignorant. So that is definitely much needed,
Definitely.
definitely needed as a man's perspective. And I do wish more men would vocalize their emotions because there is a lack of that. There's a lack of just saying how you feel, but how should a woman like how should we come off to a man? Because many times y'all hide y'all shit for days. Or y'all will say things like, don't worry about it, ain't no big deal. And that irritates the shit out of me. So part of me working on myself, reflecting of handling how y'all do that shit, you need to help me out, bro. Let me know. What do I need to do? And women can hear this when a
Mhm.
man is like, don't worry about it. When we know you guys are internalizing it, like, should we give you your space? Should we give you your time? Should we not? Should we forget about it? Like, what should we do in that sense?
I mean, each guy is different, believe it or
Mm.
not.
Yeah.
I'm an Aquarius and my wife is a Cancer. So,
Mhm.
for me, I like to have my space, but my wife is more like, no, no, we need to talk about now. What's wrong with you? You got to tell me. You got to tell me. And at times, and like I said, we've been dating for 18 years, but been married 10. So at this point, it's just like, all right, in my head, I'm telling myself I want her to leave me alone. But then at the same time, if she leaves me alone, just like, then we turn into the babies. Like, well, how come you're not checking on me? So
Exactly. Oh, you didn't care.
Yeah, yeah.
exactly. So I mean, it really depends on the guy. Because for me, my wife would get the conversation out of me, but by asking. Because for me, it's rare, and my wife doesn't tell anybody. It's rare that I'll go up to her and just tell her, "Oh, this is what's wrong with me."
Mhm.
If she asks, then I'll give it to her. But if she doesn't ask, I'm not going to volunteer. What's wrong with me? I'll sulk around, and like you said, we're internalizing everything. And for
Mm.
me, I'm big on that because I still fight that good fight of the way I was raised versus how I'm trying to raise my boys. Like for example, someone posted, I think it was yesterday, about disciplining your kids. I saw you all's comments about it, and
Yeah.
my thing is too. I grew up getting my ass whooped, and for me, it took a while for me to separate the two because
Mm.
everything doesn't warrant a beating. Is certain shit you listen to the conversation,
Very true.
hear what your kids have to say, and different things like that. But for me, it was like you said, oh, shut up. There's grown folks conversation, blah blah blah, whatever the case is, and I would get my ass whooped, and it's just like I don't even know what I did to get that ass whooping. So now with my kids, I try to tell my kids, no, I'm the quiet one. My
Mhm.
wife is out front, and I tell I play my role. My wife is out front. The kids know if I get up out the chair, if I stand up or something, like, oh shit, now we know we in trouble for real.
Yeah.
And that's and that's what it is, but
Yeah.
back to the original question, but we do internalize everything, and it just depends on the guy. Like, I like for my wife to ask what's wrong and things like that so that I can give it to her, because like I said, I still push things down, and I'm not going to volunteer any information.
Yeah, I noticed that
Okay.
also. I think also with time of being with the person, you
Mm-hmm.
kind of learn their habits
Yeah.
of when to kind of give them a moment.
Mm-hmm.
Because sometimes I learned my husband, he needs a moment because sometimes he just want to think on it. And then I
Yeah.
go back and I'll ask him, and that's when he'll tell me. So
Gotcha.
I learned him enough to know his mood swings
Mm-hmm.
to say, okay, let me give him a minute first before I dig deep into it. Because I'm like your wife. I'm like, I need to know right now what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me now.
That's a me.
So
I
I
don't
had
want
to
to know.
learn him and be like, hold up, sis, give him a minute,
Give me a
let him
minute.
handle his situation by himself first, and then go talk.
Yeah.
So
Gotcha.
I think that's also included into that. So once you date the guy, you kind of get to know.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Because yeah, you said Aquarius. What, February or January Aquarius?
January.
What you are?
January 23rd.
Oh, I'm February 25th.
Okay, look
So
at
I'm Pisces, but yeah, I thought you're February 25th. Oh, gotcha.
you.
Gotcha. Okay, so that is very actually, informative in learning who the person is,
Yeah.
because yeah, there are some men who just want their space, and there are some where you can be like, hey, what's wrong? Because there is that wall that goes up. My dad always taught me to, never make a man build up his wall too high where you can't help him knock it down.
Yeah.
Meaning,
True.
make sure that if you see him building that wall, that you get in there, because a lot of men aren't just going to move the bricks by themselves if they are getting that emotionally detached
Mhm.
from a situation. Shout out to my daddy, because boy, he be on one. You know what I'm talking about. Same way he told me, don't make a man tell you he don't want you twice. Daddy be on these things. I'm get a shirt that says that. But
For real.
he's Jamaican. Ringo dying. He's down over there. But yeah, it is definitely important. I feel like as women to listen, because I'm
Mhm.
a talker. So
Mhm.
right now I am learning to shut the hell up
Mhm.
and let a man talk. But here's the thing. Have you felt this to where, because you're not so much of a talker, that I won't say so much not respected, but your opinions or your views get overlooked anyway?
I mean, sometimes I've learned this at home with my family.
Mhm.
So, like I said, you all are family. We're all one podcast family now. But
Mhm.
even in the podcast, if you look at any lives that I do with like Dell or any of the other people, even with Ladies Lair, when I start talking, they go, "Oh shit, he talking," because I don't, express myself a whole lot. But because for me, I like to jump in. So even at home, if we're having a conversation, we could be out somewhere, everybody will be talking. I'm in the corner, I got my drink, I'm good. But then when I speak up, the reason that I don't like to talk a whole lot is because when I speak up, everybody shuts up and turns around and looks at me, and it's just like, okay, I didn't need all of that attention. I just need y'all to hear me. I didn't all have to stop what y'all were doing to see and hear me.
Mhm.
I mean, in my relationship, my wife is the talker, you know,
It's a
Yeah.
word. You're right there.
but it's different, and I tell everybody, my wife is the talker and I'm the muscle. So no matter where we go and what we doing, she's talking because my wife is 5'2". She'll say 5'3". My wife is 5'2". I'm 6'2".
To the shorties.
And my wife is always talking about, oh, blah blah blah. And I told her, I was like, you talk a lot of shit. I said, but I got your back no matter what. I'm never gonna let anything happen to her, nothing like that.
Essential.
That'd be
That's essential.
And everybody and a lot of people always go, why does your wife do all of the talking? I know what my role is in our marriage. I'm
Mhm.
cool. My manhood is not impacted in any.
exactly.
Mm.
You
I
go
love
ahead, you go ahead and talk your talk, because just like the kids know, if I get up and I say something,
right.
Mhm.
the streets know, like, all right, if he get up, it's a real issue, because when I talk, like I said, my voice is heavy and I'm quiet. But
Mhm.
once I start talking, they take notice, they pay attention to what the hell I'm saying, because it's just like, oh shit, he
Mhm.
must be mad now. So I mean, it depends. So I wouldn't say so much stop talking. Just learn when. Like if he starts talking, don't try to go back and forth with him.
Yeah.
Hear saying, and then continue doing what you're doing.
Gotcha. It's
There it
definitely
is.
words of gold. Ring
Words of
gold.
gold. I like
Ring
that.
gold there. That
Words of
is, I
gold.
like that. And that's something I
That's a
definitely gotta
shirt.
work on. Words
Hey,
of gold.
listen,
Words
you
of
got that
gold.
from So Problematic now.
Don't- Ah, but
Okay.
definitely that was something that definitely was needed. I think a lot of women, we talk and we don't
Mm-hmm.
really listen. And that's one thing my therapist was like, yeah, it's time to start self-reflecting on where you kind of did some dirt in your shit. I was like, me? But then as we went into, I was like,
Uh-huh.
me? You know, therapist was cute and all until the homegirl went
Until she,
into
yeah.
self-reflecting on me. And legit, the first day, the first session of self-reflecting, actually, see, it fucked me all the way up. I
Mm-hmm.
I didn't call nobody for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I went
She was like,
ghost.
I think we got the wrong one. This is the wrong one.
This is the wrong one. This is the
I
wrong
said,
therapy. But hindsight 2020, she did teach me to. My therapist is gangster, and sometimes some people what she says, and they're like, "What?" But I love her for that, and I
yeah.
pay her $1 million for that, and because I need a gangster therapist. And she was like, "All right, Lisa, you self-reflected. So lesson number one, you just shut the fuck up." And I was like,
I like her.
I was like, okay. She's like, you need to shut the fuck up. She's like, you need to just shut up and let somebody talk.
Let somebody
So
else talk.
when you said that, it is true. I know for a fact, me shutting up is not my strong point, but it's something that I'm definitely working on. Um,
Mhm.
and
I mean,
it's
and
hard.
it's gonna take time. I
Oh,
mean,
God
Definitely. Oh,
knows. Oh yeah,
definitely.
yeah. Rome wasn't built in a day.
yeah, I was about to say because
Somebody who's willing to put up with your talking, per se. Somebody who's willing to put up with it and help you simmer down and shut up.
Yeah, shut up a little bit.
yeah, because some guys that will get upset and oh, I don't believe that she's this or she's that, and just like all right, they like I said, they have to understand who they are and they have to understand who you are. Like
Mhm.
my wife and I, if we get into a disagreement, I just shut the hell up and I'm gonna listen and go, okay. And I know, and this pisses, I think all women off. It pisses guys off too, just so people understand it. When you go, are you done? That I, and at times I do that, and I know, and and my wife would go, okay.
Woo,
Or
that's right.
if it's me with the issue and I'm bringing it to my wife, and she'll go, okay, are you done? And it's just like, what the fuck you mean? Am I done? Then you
Yeah.
get a whole other disagreement.
Woo.
But
Fact.
I mean, the guy, male, female, it doesn't matter. Whatever role you're in, you have to understand that. Like my wife will let me talk, and yes, people, I said let me talk. It's not a one-way thing. My wife lets me talk. I get out what I need to get out. She'll say what she has to say, and and even if we don't agree,
Hmm.
hey, it's just like, all right, I heard what you had to say. You heard what I had to say. It is
Yes,
There you go.
yes. Sometimes it's
both
just
sides
hearing.
out.
Are y'all taking this in? I hope y'all taking this in. Please rewind if y'all didn't take that in. Okay.
Cause that was a word.
That was the word.
That was Ringo. Okay, TD Ringo right there. TD Ringo. TD, not even Jake's the Ringo. So that is very true. And
Yeah.
sometimes it's just, did you hear what I had to say? And
Hmm.
that's just it.
Definitely.
Because I was telling Kavita that the other day, people sometimes feel like there has to be a resolution or a middle ground. Sometimes it's just hearing. This is what I feel. This is what you feel. So we're aware of that at the end of the day. And so what you
So
said is
then
a
I have a question for you two. So do you all, and she's listening, do you all have a
good
problem
question.
apologizing?
A problem apologizing? Oh,
And whether in the moment, because like I just said, in some disagreements, like for me, if I'm wrong, I'll apologize right away. My wife, we have to sleep on it, let it marinate a little bit. The
oh,
next evening, then I'll get the apology. And it's just like, oh, all right. And I'll take it. I don't fuss it. I'm a poke at her and be like, oh, it took you that long to apologize. So
right.
do either of you have a problem apologizing?
No, I don't. I'm big on apology. I'm very big on apology. Um, a lot of women probably would be like, "Oh, Cece, no." I'm very big on apology because I don't like to go to bed with that heavy heart. That's just me. I do not like to go to bed with that on my conscience.
No.
I, like I said, being raised in the Christian home, tomorrow's not promised to me or you.
Exactly.
I'll apologize in your sleep when I'm dead. I'm gonna go ahead and sleep on that shit like your wife and think about it. Because let me tell you what, I'm a talker. And it's one thing I worked in therapy that I'm quick to just defend. I used to be so quick to just defend myself.
Really?
I'm a quick defender. So part of me self-reflecting was really her working with me to sit there and literally say to the person, let me think about it.
Okay.
Because I'm quick, I have a slick mouth. Not slick as in mean, but slick as I would come back real quick with things.
Yeah.
So for me, part of me working on who I am, I need to analyze my shit. Own
Yeah.
up to it. I do.
That's true too.
So for me personally, I need to, because sometimes I don't see where the hell I went wrong in the moment. And I might not see it till I go to bed. I might be hungry and tired and don't see that shit. But when I eat and I sleep and I get up in the morning and it's true. In the morning,
But
I'll
I've
do my
learned.
devotional and I'll be like, okay, God, you know what? Shouldn't have done that. Then I will come back and be like, you know what? Now I'll be like, you know what? This and this and this and this, I shouldn't have done. I'm more in depth with the apology because I got time to actually analyze what I did and how I really messed up. The apology part, I have no problem doing. The time frame, I'm a defender, so I do need time to think about my shit. I
But
do.
I don't. But I don't see anything wrong with that though, because I mean, sometimes depending on what the disagreement was,
Mhm.
you need time to process it and see where you went wrong. Because you're a talker, so if you're used to doing all of the talking, you're not really hearing what the hell the other person is saying. You just going, and then something that the other person said will sink in when you go to bed. Because now you two have just said, you know what, all right, we're just gonna leave it here. We're gonna go. I'm gonna go upstairs. You go
Mhm.
downstairs. So now you'll be sitting there talking about, I don't believe this shit. Then when you go to bed, talking about, well, you know what? They had a point when they said this.
Yep, that's me. I'll be like, "Mm."
You just needed that time to process it.
Which
Ooh.
is true. That's
But I
true.
will say this also. I've learned in my apology that sometimes it is not so much what you said, but how you said it.
Yeah.
And
And I think that's where I'm coming from.
I've also learned that to you, it might not be hurtful, but if it hurt the person that you really do care about and love, you need to be coming to them out of a place of love and apology
And that's
because
yeah.
it's easy for me. And I've learned this, to be honest with you, because I'll be like, that wasn't even that big of a deal. But then I've learned to me, it wasn't, but to them, it was. And you
Mm-hmm.
can't really dictate how somebody feels. You can't say you shouldn't feel that way. So,
Mhm.
with my apology, I've had to really learn was okay, Lisa, it wouldn't have hurt you if they said it to you, but it hurt them when you said it. And you need to realize how you said it to them and how you hurt them by saying that.
Right.
And you can't just take your feelings and run with it. You got to take how they are. So that's something that I definitely had to work
And I
on.
think that's where my apology comes in is because I'm apologizing for most likely how I said what I said.
Mhm.
Doesn't mean that I'm sorry for what I'm saying in that moment. I'm
Mhm.
just sorry for how I said it most of the time. So that's what I mean. Like I'm quick on apology, but then I'm gonna come back to you later on and say, okay, let's talk about this. We're cool. If I really do apologize for what I said, I'm gonna apologize for what I said. But if
Mhm.
I don't, we're gonna talk it out.
You know, one thing I've also learned: always repeat. Like
Always
my ex
repeat.
got mad at me. He got annoyed. I used to be like, "So just so I'm clear, when
Hmm.
I said this got you upset." And he'd be like, "Yes, yes." I'm like, "I'm repeating because I need to make sure I know what the fuck got you mad. 'Cause I said a lot of shit a while ago. I need to
Oh
make sure
my
this one's like,
God, because you're such a talker.
what?" My mouth was running like a. I'm like, "This part got you mad?" Yeah. So then
But
I know.
That part.
in our head, we're processing it. It's almost like you poking at it. So is this what really got you mad? Then you're saying it again, and it's just like, the fuck, did I not say yes the first time? So it seems like you're poking fun at us.
My husband big on that.
See,
He don't like repeating himself,
they don't.
but I'm like that too. I'm like,
Wait, so this
it's, it's
part?
right.
That's me. Yeah, I be trying. Because I'd be like,
I'm just trying to make sure I heard you clearly.
yeah, because I'd be like, I'm making sure that's the right part. Then I'm apologizing. I'm
Right.
analyzing here because I said a lot of shit a while
But
ago.
you know how to look at it too. Look at it like when we go to the doctor. You go to the doctor, say, "Oh, I sprained my ankle." Then the doctor grab your ankle and twist it. This ankle here, and you like this? Yes, that's the one I told you hurt.
See, I never seen it like
We
that,
never
but I
saw
see
it
it.
like, oh crap. Okay, okay, okay. That's fine.
Whoa, he's gonna go
He
ahead
got
and
us with
read
that
us.
one.
Yeah,
He got us with that one. Bitch, I had to shut up.
I thought I was doing something right a while ago. I was like, so this one
Uh,
right here.
mhm.
That's why he used to be like, yes, Lisa, that part. I used to be
No,
like,
my husband's like, I'm not repeating myself.
you better replay this.
I was like, dang, so now I gotta go rethink about
You
this.
gotta rethink about it. It's true.
But yeah,
It is true. Thanks for that information.
for
No
real.
problem,
'Cause
no problem.
woo-hoo.
But no,
Oh
this
my.
was definitely a great conversation, yo. Like
Mhm.
we needed this. We needed this. I definitely wanted to talk about it.
We did. We were, and that's what we wanted to bring to you because we are just like, we want to hear what you have to say about these certain topics and communication,
Yeah.
showing emotion, and just even with. I love your question about forgiveness because forgiveness is one thing and is important, but I feel like in a marriage, like, do you feel like just not forgiving but learning to let go because resentment is real and
Oh
resentment will
yeah.
cause a breakup in a marriage.
Yeah.
So do you feel like you got to forgive and then really learn to let go of that to not build resentment, or do you feel like it's okay to forgive, remember, but don't hold the person accountable? Like, how do you feel you can
I,
avoid resentment to you?
I hope this makes sense. It's because I always say, because like I said, I did some crazy shit when we first got married, but it's not so, I don't want to say let go, but you have to, if you forget, if you tell them that you for it, whoever is apologizing, but if you say, I forgive you or whatever the case is, don't hold on to it, because if it comes up every argument, you didn't really forgive. It's just,
Mhm.
Mm,
like I said, I'm quick to say I will never ever say, oh, forget about it. Oh, you forgave me, you shouldn't even be thinking about it no more. No, it's still there. It happened. You know that it happened. But
Right.
it's, or if you say I forgive you, then it's just like, okay, you know, I I don't even know how to say it without it
Have a
sounding
great
bad.
name.
Kind of put it on the back burner. They're good analogy. The stove is on. You know, with some shit on that back stove. You know it's on, but you're not gonna forget about it. You're just not paying. So you might have put it on low simmer.
yeah,
you
Ex-
know,
Warm.
yeah,
We got it on
warm.
warm.
Yeah.
exactly. It's always gonna be there, no matter even if I tell you I forgive you.
Mhm.
It's you know that it's there. It's still, I may do something that triggers that in my wife or whatever the case is. And it's not so much that she wants to bring it up, but it happened and I can't just forget about it. So you can forgive, but you never ever completely forget about it or forgive. You forgive, but you don't 100% forgive. You might do 75%. That 25 is still out there.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
definitely. Definitely. I can speak on that too. Definitely.
Mm, okay.
Like I said, things I've been with my husband since 2006, and obviously I wouldn't go all the way back and be like, this. I remember this, or like to be honest, it's the past. Why am I bringing it?
Mm-hmm.
If I forgave you or you forgave me, why are we bringing it up right now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unless you did the same thing exactly,
Mhm.
or you know what I'm saying? Like even if it was a trigger, I'd be like, what? I'll look, but I ain't gonna bring it up. I'm
Yeah.
not gonna throw it back into your face again. I'm gonna just be paying
Yeah.
attention, like,
Yeah.
okay.
Very true.
But I don't know.
'Cause, I mean, it is there. Like you said, in our heads, whoever is the party at fault, you want the shit to go away. But if you're honest with yourself, you know that it's never going to go away because it's like I said, the smallest thing you could be watching American Horror Story, CSI, whatever your show is, you could be watching something and some
It's
shit come across the screen and you like, fuck, why do you have to talk about that?
right,
And
right.
it happens. It does happen, and it's just like, and
Very.
when the shit happened, you got to look over at your partner and go, did she see that or did he see that shit too?
Yeah. Yeah.
It happens, you know.
I wish you, I wish you would.
Very true. That's true. Well,
But
just like Cece said, this was definitely an enlightening conversation, and it was very true. All things. Are there any last words before we wrap this up that you want to tell? First of all, tell our viewers where they can find you on every platform, a little bit
mhm,
about your podcast, and any last thoughts that you might have.
definitely.
Okay. So yeah, so we need to talk 23. You can find me on all streaming platforms except iHeartRadio. So Amazon, iTunes, Spotify, any place you can find it anywhere. I also have a YouTube channel, so you can find me on YouTube. We need to talk 23. Um, I'm on break right now. This is actually the first show that I've done while I've been on my break.
Mhm,
So I appreciate you all, helping me get back in the fold. Uh,
definitely.
but I usually drop on Wednesdays with this with my new upcoming season. I don't know if I'm going to change the days, but it's usually every Wednesday I drop a new episode, and I have some really really good shows lined up. Like I said, you all are going to be in my new upcoming season. So,
Okay.
any words of wisdom? I mean,
Mhm.
see, actually, Cece brought it up. It does not matter what the argument is. If you both are sleeping in the same house, it does not have to be the same room, depending on what the argument was about. If you're sleeping in the same house, do not go to bed angry.
Yes.
You tell that person you love them, even if they don't say it back. For your own conscience, for your own sake, you tell that person you love them.
Yes.
Go to bed, because, like I said, I always tell my wife, I don't care what our argument is about, unless as long as there's nothing over the top.
Right.
But if
Right.
regular argument, we're not going to bed without, I can say I love you and fuck you. All right, cool. I
Yes.
got it off my chest, but I don't want to go to bed with that heavy heart. And because, like I said, God forbid, like you said, we're not promised tomorrow.
Very
And
true.
if you don't wake up tomorrow, I don't wake up tomorrow. I don't want my last thought of you or your last thought of me being, you know what, I said fuck you before we went to bed, or we were arguing,
Understandable.
my last words. So.
Hmm.
Oh, definitely. So, on that note, we will see you guys on the next episode. Bye.
Bye.